Brandon Noel Keith, Camp Blood, May 5th, 2018. Page 1. A young man and woman enter the woods. The sun hasn't risen yet this morning. This pair are carrying hiking bags, looking tired as they pass by the trees. Hiker man. Maybe we should just stop here. Hiker woman.
But we're not there yet.
Hiker man. Close enough. The hiker drops his bags. He immediately pulls out his sleeping bag and crawls in. The woman kneels down. Hiker woman.
Didn't get enough sleep? We
Hiker man. Stop it. Hiker woman.
You really want to sleep? Maybe we can. You know.
Hiker man. Do you still have gas? No thanks. Hiker woman.
The little ween is afraid of Stinky Winky. Your little ween doesn't want to have sex with his girlfriend cause he doesn't want an STD.
Hiker man. STD? What are you talking about? Just cut it out, Beverly. I mean it. Beverly.
Screw you. Andy.
Andy. No, screw you. Beverly slaps Andy across the face. Andy. Hey, what is your problem? Beverly.
What's the little ween going to do?
Suddenly, a snapping branch is heard in the distance. Andy. What was that? Beverly.
Maybe a hungry bear.
Andy. No, seriously. Beverly.
I am serious. Ha 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 ha.
Walking away.
I'll check it out. You sleep tight.
Beverly heads deep into the woods. Andy looks all around, bundled up in his sleeping bag. Andy. Can't believe she left me alone. Andy closes his eyes. He doesn't notice a man's legs and feet closing in on him from behind. Suddenly, he turns over, opening his eyes. A gasp later, and his head is crushed underfoot. The killer wipes the chunky remains off on the sleeping bag. Page 2. Beverly is squatted, taking a piss. When she's done, she pulls up her pants, zipping them. Now heads back to her weenie boyfriend. Beverly.
Andy, you're pathetic.
She digs in her bag, not looking directly at the fresh corpse. She's digging deeper. Beverly.
Tell me you didn't eat all the beef jerky.
Beverly finally turns and sees her dead boyfriend. She jumps up and lets out a scream. She turns to face the killer in the hockey mask charging her quickly from out of the woods. Beverly screams louder, about to run off the other direction, but Jason takes hold of her ponytail and yanks her head right off. The head is flung into the trees. Jason returns to the woods as the sun rises. That morning, Tommy Jarvis is walking down a trail. He's on his cell phone. Tommy. Yeah, okay. Just tell Mama I said hi. Listening. Yeah, don't worry, Trish. I know what I'm doing, remember? Listening. No, it's for the job. I'm not even going to the campsite. Okay, love you. Bye. Tommy hangs up his cell phone. He lets out a sigh, packing it away. Now he passes by the Camp Crystal Lake sign, entering the camp. At the camp, the young and beautiful lead counselor steps out, a blonde and big-breasted teenager with a clipboard. Blonde beauty.
Is everyone here?
The counselors out ahead all turn their heads to face her. There's 5 of them, and she makes 6. One of the 3 men is shaking his head. Blonde beauty.
Where's Andy and Beverly?
The man who shook his head walks up. He's got dark hair and tattoos on both his arms. Tattoo man. Maybe they got lost and turned around. But I think they were never coming in the first place. Blonde beauty.
They wouldn't do that.
Tattoo man. Wouldn't they? Try and open this place again? Stupid idea. Blonde beauty.
Then what are you doing here?
Tattoo man. I need the money. Blonde beauty.
We all do. Why don't you go look for them? Just to be sure.
He smiles, walking away. Page 3. One of the other 2 females, a redhead, follows him with her eyes. Then the other female, a fat Mexican, steps up. Fat Latina.
I said.
Redhead woman.
He's my boyfriend.
Fat Latina.
Well, I don't like him.
Redhead woman.
Maybe we don't like you either.
The redhead woman walks away. The fat Latina storms off, annoyed. In one of the cabins, the blonde beauty is jotting down things with a pen on the clipboard page. The other 2 guys, clearly stoners, step inside the cabin. Stoner 1. Yo, Stacy, Stacy spins around with a smile on her face. Stacy.
What can I do for you too?
Stoner 1. When do the kids get here? Stacy.
Tomorrow. But that doesn't mean I want you two to start smoking again.
Stoner 2. Why not just until they get here? We heard you were cool. Stacy.
But I already let you smoke on the bus. Okay, look, whatever. But you two better do your jobs.
Stoner 1. We will, we promise. Thanks, Stacy. Stoner 2. Running off with friend. Yeah, thanks. Stopping and turning. Hey, you want some? We have plenty. Stacy waves them off. They obey. The fat Latina approaches an outhouse. She holds her stomach and waddles towards it. She opens the door and enters, closing it behind her. Across from the outhouse is a tool shed. Jason's right hand moves over a bow and arrow. Back in the outhouse, the fat Latina is taking a huge shit. She grunts in pain as she does. Then it's all over. She flushes. She opens the door and faces down Jason Voorhees and his bow and arrow. The first arrow slices through the air. It pins her to the outhouse through the throat. Blood streams down the wound. The fat Latina is struggling there to breathe, unable to scream. Jason pulls another arrow and fires. This one impales her through the forehead. The fat Latina is dead. Jason sets the bow down and picks up a machete off the tool shed countertop. Page 4. Stacy is fixing herself a drink. Suddenly, Tommy Jarvis is standing at the doorway. Stacy turns. Stacy.
Tommy, you made it.
They walk quickly to one another and embrace. Tommy, did you think I wouldn't? Stacy.
I don't know what I was thinking. What are we thinking anyway? It's not saying what we're doing.
Tommy. Greater good. Tommy and Stacy kiss. A moment later, Tommy uncovers a stash of weapons from a hole in the floor, which was being hidden by a rug. Tommy throws his girlfriend an assault rifle and picks up a shotgun of his own and cocks it. Stacy pulls up her drink and sips. Tommy, what's on your mind, Stacy? Stacy.
Thank you for not inviting the kids. I don't know if I could have gone through with that.
Tommy. No, you couldn't, and neither could I. Stacy.
But what about the others?
Tommy. It's called bait. You know that. No turning back now. Tommy walks away. Stacy follows. In the woods, the two stoners are just walking out, coughing up smoke. They hit the roadside and continue down the way. Stoner 2. Hey, Josh. You think Stacy's hot? Josh. Of course she is. What the fuck? Stoner 2. But would she fuck me? Josh. Why don't you just ask her? Stoner 2. What if she says no? Josh. Then respect she knows what she wants, Craig. Craig. Yeah, but... Josh. If she says no, just let it go. Maybe she'll change her mind. But the worst case scenario is she kicks you in the balls. And she seems way too nice for that. Holding gun. Oh, fuck, I gotta take a dump. Josh runs up a small hill and unzips his pants to shit. Craig continues smoking the joint in his hand. Now Josh turns to some weeds. Page 5. Josh pulls back the weeds to uncover a tombstone. He reads it aloud. Josh. Pamela Voorhees. Hey, this sounds familiar, dude, doesn't it? Wasn't she Jason's mom? Craig. Who's Jason? Josh. The killer with the hockey mask, remember? Don't you know this is his turf? Can't blood, man. Suddenly, Jason faces through the thick bush area. Josh looks up and is face to face with him, having just taken a shit on his mom's grave. Josh. Oh, shit. Josh loses his balance and tumbles down the hill, stopping next to his friend who's still smoking. Craig, staring at Jason. Heavy shit. Jason stomps out, stomping the fecal matter into the ground. He clenches his machete tightly, making his way down toward them. Craig picks Josh up to his feet, and they turn and run back down the way they came. In the woods, Josh and Craig are hurrying the best they can, but they're out of breath. They stop, thinking they've gone far enough to take a break. Craig. Who the fuck was that, Josh? Josh. Some Jason wannabe, I guess. We gotta get back to the camp. Josh takes another step and is bitten by a bear trap. He lets out a scream. Ah! Falling down, holding his right foot wound, which is nearly severed from his leg. Craig backs away in shock and awe, confused. Craig. What the fuck, dude? Craig spins around and Jason is standing there. He brings the machete down, cutting Craig diagonally across the torso in one quick swoop. Right shoulder to left hip side. Craig drops dead. Josh lets out another scream, trying to crawl away. Jason brings the machete down, cutting Josh's right hand off. Another scream. Now Josh's left hand. Another scream. Josh. Please don't do it. Please, Jason. I know it's you. I'm sorry I took a shit on your mom's grave. Josh is impaled in the crotch. He vomits blood and lets out a high-pitched squeal as the machete is pulled up slowly, and it cuts away, splitting his torso in half, groin to gullet. His insides seep out dastardly. Josh is dead. Page 6. Deep in the woods, the redhead woman is being fucked by the tattoo man. He's taking it from behind, bent over on a boulder. Tattoo man. Take it, Leanne. You like it? Leanne.
Harder, Elliot. Oh, yes. Yes.
The fucking continues. Neither one notices the grizzly bear coming up at first. Then they turn and gasp in horror. They collect themselves, dressing as they run. Elliot. Fuck! Elliot trips as the grizzly bear roars. It chases after them. Leanne jumps up a tree and climbs up quickly. Leanne.
Elliot. Hurry up.
Elliot jumps up and tries to climb but is pulled down by the bear. Elliot. Ah! Ah! Leanne.
No. Elliot.
The bear stops and stands tall with a roar. As Jason Voorhees comes walking up, Leanne looks down in wonder from her perch. Jason swings his machete, slicing the bear across the chest. The bear roars furiously, in pain. The grizzly bear swats Jason away and walks over Elliot's flattened body. Elliot is clawed and crushed, bleeding out of the mouth. Jason gets up and is smacked back down by the bear. His machete is let go. Now the bear picks Jason up and throws him against a tree. The tree snaps and falls over. Jason rolls over and gets up slowly. The grizzly charges with another roar, another slash across Jason's chest, and an opening reveals itself. Jason quickly rips into the bear's chest wound, doing the same to him. The bear thrashes about, in even more pain and anger. Jason is backhanded to the forest floor, his backside clawed repeatedly. Now the bear is sinking its teeth into the seemingly helpless killer's body. Back over to Elliot, who's weakly climbing up the tree, his girlfriend helping him. Back to Jason being torn apart some more, but he's not moving anymore. The bear has won this round easily enough. The bear sniffs the corpse and backs away. Then it returns to the tree and looks up, standing on its hind legs, pawing at the air, trying to reach the two. But then the machete comes sticking through the grizzly bear's chest, out its back. The bear falls over, weakly. Leanne lets out a scream as Jason climbs up the tree. In a flash, he's just below them. He takes Elliot by the leg and throws him out of the tree. Elliot lands atop the bear, which rips at him until he's dead. Page 7. Leanne.
No. 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 No.
Jason crushes Leanne's head in his right hand grip. She falls out of the tree now, too, dead before impact. Back down to the bear, who's weakly feasting on Elliot's corpse. Down Jason drops, cracking the bear's neck via left foot, and Jason now rips his machete from the bear's dead body. Back at the camp, the sun is setting. All is quiet. Suddenly, a cop comes riding up on a motorcycle. The cycle parks. The cop hops off and takes a look around. Cop. Okay, you guys. I know you're here. Come on out. No answer. Stop playing games. This is a private campground. Off limits to you sons of bitches. You retarded fuckers. I made it. There's still no answer. Cop. Okay, if you want it the hard way. The cop turns to Jason, decapitating him with a machete. The body drops. Jason looks up and scans the campsite through the hockey mask. He suspects there are more, and it's his every intention to murder them on sight. He walks over to one of the cabins and enters. We hold outside, as night has fallen. Back out of the cabin. No luck. Into the next cabin across the way. Hold on the leg as a bird flies by. A moment later, and Jason exits the second cabin. Still no luck. Just then, Tommy Jarvis is across the way, waving at him. Jason takes a deep breath and walks right for him. Tommy. Remember me, Jason? You will. Tommy flips a switch as Jason passes by the police motorcycle. This sets off a hidden explosive device. Boom! The bike blows up. Jason is sent soaring away on fire. He lands atop one of the cabin rooftops. He breaks through. Inside, the cabin is slowly burning away. Tommy and Stacy barge in as Jason gets up. Stacy opens fire, riddling Jason's torso and limbs with the salt fire. Tommy, you got him! All of Jason's body shakes. Then he throws the flaming machete. It cuts through the air and impales Stacy to the electric box near the door. She's being electrocuted to death and burning outside and in, screaming. Jarvis shows his teeth in anger as Jason moves closer. Jarvis pulls out the shotgun and squeezes the trigger. Jason's head is blown apart. Jason's headless body drops. Camp Blood, May 5th, 2018. Brandon O'Keefe. The end. Brandon O'Keefe. Camp Blood 2. May 6th, 2018. Page 1. At the Crystal Lake Police Station, Tommy Jarvis is being held for the recent murders at the closed Camp Crystal Lake site. Sheriff P-Boy Peabody is trying to take a nap at his desk. Thunder rolls outside. Tommy, behind bars. Deja vu. Sheriff Peabody. Quiet, Jarvis. Tommy. Is your name really P-Boy? Sheriff Peabody. It's Sheriff Peabody to you. Tommy. You know I didn't do it. Sheriff Peabody. It was Jason, right? Ha! Jason's dead, fuckface. Tommy. Yeah, thanks to me. Poor Stacy. Suddenly, a pair of cops, one male and one female, enter with a box of donuts and some coffee. Following them are two blondes. Tommy. Mom! Trish! Mother Jarvis and Trish Jarvis run to the sheriff's desk. Mother Jarvis.
You let my son out of there right now.
Trish.
He didn't do anything.
Male cop. They paid good money to get him out, Sheriff Peabody. Female cop.
Even bought us coffee and donuts.
Mother Jarvis.
Where's your evidence?
Sheriff Peabody rolls his eyes. He waves his hands, signaling his fellow cops to let him out. A moment later, Tommy with his mother and sister are leaving the station, headed for the parked car, excitement in the air. Mother Jarvis.
You said you had a job at the library. You were at that damn campsite.
Trish.
How could you lie to us like that, Tommy?
Tommy. For the greater good, Trish. The three get in the car, Mother Jarvis in the driver's seat, Trish in the passenger seat, Tommy in the back. Tommy. I shot his head off with a shotgun. Jason's dead. I killed him. Finally! Tommy laughs hysterically, clapping happily. The car takes off, with the two ladies concerned for him. Page 2. At the morgue, Jason's headless body is in the far corner. A male and female attendant are kissing. Just then, the female stops. Male attendant. What's wrong? Female attendant.
Can't we do this somewhere else?
Male attendant. I can't wait. Can you? The female buttons up her shirt. She walks over slowly to the gurney. She removes the cover. Female attendant.
I thought this guy had his head blown off with a shotgun.
Male attendant. Walking over. He did. They stare at Jason's body, his head grown back to a rotting mess. Male attendant. I don't remember this one coming in. The male attendant scratches his with one hand, opening up her shirt to reveal her bra with the other. Male attendant. Guess the headless one is someplace else, huh? The two continue kissing. She gently pushes him down on an empty gurney. She removes her shirt completely. He undoes her bra. Her bare breasts are revealed. She giggles. Now Jason rises. He hops off his gurney quietly. The lovers start to thrust. A slow pan in, then the woman is ripped off of him. She lets out a scream. Male attendant. What the fuck? The woman's head is twisted around, twisted right off. The male attendant is now running to the door. Jason picks up a scalpel. Down the hall, the male attendant bumps into another female attendant. She drops her tray of food. Female attendant 2.
Thanks, asshole.
As she picks up her food, the male attendant is trying to speak, but he's speechless. He turns around slowly and has his throat slit deep by the scalpel. The second female attendant looks up as he drops dead. She lets out a scream. The scalpel slices across her face deeply. Blood sprays out and she drops flat. The scalpel now moves down between her breasts, cutting her up more. At the front desk, another lady is reading a fitness magazine. She yawns. Jason walks up behind her with a surgical saw. It's slammed into the back of her head, splitting it open. Her face drops into the magazine. Jason now makes his way to the front door. Just then, a male security guard backs in, listening to music, and oblivious. Jason impales him in the back with his right arm, exiting. Page 3. Down the street, as the storm picks up, wind and rain, the Jarvis family car breaks down. Mother Jarvis.
Oh, come on.
Mother Jarvis tries to start it up again. She fails. Trish.
Tommy can fix it.
Tommy salutes them, getting out. He pops the hood as the rain begins to pour. Trish.
Hey, Mon, remember when we were kids? Remember the time before down.
Mother Jarvis.
Good times.
Trish.
No, I mean the Jason murders. When you thought you saw something, slipped and fell.
Mother Jarvis.
Temporary amnesia. What about it, Trish?
Trish.
Jason was out there then. Maybe he's still out there now. Tommy said he killed him.
Mother Jarvis.
He said that before.
Tommy, slamming the hood down. Okay, try it. The car starts up. Tommy gets back in. He sneezes. Achoo! Thunder rolls again. Mother Jarvis.
Good job, son. Let's get out of here.
The car takes off, then slides off the wet road, crashing into a tree. On a town street, a lone woman is walking with an umbrella. Suddenly she stops. She turns and looks into the alleyway. Here comes a hockey-masked man with a machete walking up. The lone woman screams as he raises the machete. Then some laughter. The mask is removed. Lone woman.
Fuck you.
Prankster. Got you good that time. Hey, why don't we fuck? Suddenly Jason Voorhees steps up from behind the prankster. He takes the machete and cuts him in half at the waist with it. The lone woman lets out another, more terrified scream. She starts to run. Jason picks up the hockey mask and places it over his head. He begins to follow her. At the police station, Sheriff P-Boy Peabody and his deputies are having a card game. Sheriff Peabody. Don't cheat the sheriff now. Suddenly the running woman barges in from the storm. Page 4. Sheriff Peabody. Ma'am? Suddenly Jason barges in right after her. The sheriff and his two deputies pull their pistols. They each open fire. Jason is shot up, but it's to little avail. Jason impales the sheriff with the machete. The sheriff falls over dead. Jason walks right up to the male and female deputies and slams their heads together. The scared woman lets out another scream. She rushes over to a window. Jason takes her by the back of the head and slams her face into the window, shattering it. Then her face is scraped against the shards most horrifically. Blood pours out and streams down her disfigured face. Finally, Jason pulls her back, taking a good look before breaking her back. The corpse is dropped. Jason walks away. Tommy, Trish, and Mother Jarvis run down the road. The storm doesn't seem to be weakening. Tommy waves at the complex ahead of them. Tommy. The old halfway house. Mother Jarvis.
Looks empty.
Tommy. Because it is. Rushing forth as they follow. Come on. We can stay the night. The three head inside. Time passes. In a gathering area before a television set, the Jarvis family are trying to sleep. The mother on one couch, Trish on the other couch, and Tommy seated in a chair. Lightning strikes just outside. Tommy's eyes shoot open. He looks out the window. Then his eyes begin to close again. The rainfall still comes down hard, and more thunder rolls. Tommy sighs. Just outside, a drifter is stumbling about. Drunk as can be. He drops his bottle of liquor. Drunkard. Oh, come on, where is it? I can't see shit. Damn it! The drunkard half blindly moves his hands around at his feet, trying to find the dropped bottle. Then Jason walks up, pulling a cord. The drunkard turns, with widened eyes, a revving chainsaw in the monster's hands. A gasp from the drunkard as he's sawed in the gut. Screams as his insides are chewed up. Tommy, Trish, and their mother jump up, wide awake. Then the chewed-up corpse of the drunkard is thrown through the window. The mother and her daughter let out a scream. Jason crashes through the front door, all wet with a bloody chainsaw. Tommy's face is now full of panic. Page 5. The Jarvis family rush up the stairs. Jason is following. Tommy. We gotta get out of here! Mother Jarvis trips and falls. Jason reaches the top of the stairs and brings down the chainsaw. The mother screams as the blood sprays up. Trish lets out a scream of her own. Tommy growls angrily. Tommy. No! Tommy runs up and roundhouse kicks Jason across the face. Jason spins around. The chainsaw is dropped. Tommy goes to pick it up as Trish is crying. Jason spins back around and takes Tommy by the shoulders. Tommy is thrown down the stairs. He He tumbles as Jason picks the chainsaw up again. Trish.
Tommy.
Jason charges quickly. Trish backs up. She crashes through the window, but is caught by the chainsaw tearing through her abdomen. A terrible scream as she's chewed up, hanging out the second-story window. She stares into Jason's eye holes. Then her body falls to pieces to the wet ground below. Tommy awakens slowly. He looks up as Jason stares down at him with a bloody chainsaw. Tommy gets up. He backs to the doorway in disbelief. As Jason Voorhees starts walking down the stairs, Tina Shepard appears. Jason stops, cocking his head. Then the chainsaw is ripped out of his hands. It floats in the air. Jason, having just recognized his old foe, knows what's up. The chainsaw cuts into his arm, then flies over and cuts at his neck, now flying down and cutting into his chest. Tommy looks at Tina. Tommy. I've read about you. Tina Shepard, right? Tina.
That's right, Tommy.
The chainsaw cuts Jason deeper. It moves faster, grinding and spilling his inner meat. Jason falls mask first, sliding down the stairs. The chainsaw continues to grind. Jason gets up slowly as Tommy and Tina back out of the house. From the kitchen comes the knife holder. The knives soar out of the wooden holder as the chunk of wood smashes against the back of Jason's head. This doesn't faze the killer. But then the cleaver and the butter knife and the steak knife and the butcher's knife all cut into him. Tina.
How do you like that, Jason?
The butter knife in his side, the cleaver in his face, the steak knife in his heart, the butcher's knife in his backside. Jason falls over, out of it for the time being. Tina and Tommy head out into the front yard. Page 6. Suddenly, Tina's husband Nick appears. He lifts up a rocket launcher. Tina.
Do it, Nick.
Jason is seen getting up slowly. Nick fires a rocket. The halfway house explodes. Jason is seen dropping in the flames. Tina and Nick hug. Nick. Is this him? Tommy, holding hand out. Tommy Jarvis. Nick and Tommy shake hands. Tina.
My husband, Nick. Camp Blood Survivors United.
Nick. So is Jason dead this time? Tommy. For now. The three watch the halfway house burn down completely. On the lake itself, on a party barge, midnight has arrived, and the storm has ceased. Nick pilots the barge, while Tina approaches Tommy. Tina.
How are you holding up?
Tommy. Pretty good, all things considered. The two watch the calm water for a moment in silence. Tina.
Your mom and sister may be gone, but you're still alive, Tommy. So are we.
Tommy. Maybe we shouldn't have come back. Tina.
How many lives did we just save?
Tommy. He just wants to be left alone, in deep thought. That's all he ever wanted. Tina.
And he will be.
Tommy. Nobody ever learns. They always come back. And they never leave alive. If we just... Tina.
We're leaving alive right now.
Tommy. Are we? Are we really? Suddenly Jason Voorhees erupts from the lake. He climbs aboard. Nick. Son of a bitch! Nick goes for a spear gun, but Jason takes it first, and he impales him through the chest with it, his heart ripped out on the spear tip. Jason then fires. As Tina screams, the spear flies between Tina and Tommy. Tommy hitting the deck, while Tina falls off the side. A splash into the water. Nick is dead. Jason drops him and the gun. Page 7. Tommy runs up and starts slugging Jason in the stomach. Jason swings his fist. Tommy moves out of the way, then knees him in the side. Tommy pulls the cleaver out of his head and starts hacking away at Jason's neck, trying to cut his head off. Chop, chop, chop. Jason lets out a little grunt. Then he rips off Tommy's head, still attached to the spine. Tommy is dead, and the head is dropped. Now Jason Voorhees walks up to the edge of the party barge. He looks down at Tina Shepard trying to swim away. Then she stops and places her hands over her temples. She stares angrily at Jason as the barge begins to break apart. Jason looks around. Now the barge begins to sink. Boards of wood rips out and starts smacking Jason down. The steering wheel breaks off its post and spin flies in the air, knocking the killer upside the head. The spear gun soars through the air now and impales Jason through the backside. Jason drops to his knees in pain. The barge itself snaps in half and swallows the Crystal Lake killer, and the water swallows the barge. Tina is weeping, swimming to the docks. She climbs up and starts crawling to the middle point. She flips over and looks at what she's done. The barge is poking out of the water. All is quiet once more. Tina's crying turns to laughter. Has she lost her mind? Perhaps. Tina Shepard stands tall, and as she does, Jason rises from the lake. She sighs at the sight of him, still laughing. Tina.
Come on then. Come and get me.
Jason closes in.
You can do it. Jason.
Jason climbs up on the dock. Now Tina places stares intently again. Blood streaming down her nostrils. Tina.
Not without a fight.
The party barge motor flies out of the lake. Jason spins around as it comes right at him, speedily. Jason is ground up in the motor, and it's picked up. Picking him up. Cutting him apart. Tina flips him off with a smile. She's looking up as the motor chops Jason, who's helpless in the air. Then, with a twitch of Tina's head, the motor explodes. Pieces of it and the hockey mask killer rain down, slow motion even, like a spectacular firework. Tina lifts her arms in victory. Now Megan Garris walks up. Megan.
Tommy's dead. Isn't he?
Tina. Turning.
I'm sorry, Megan.
Tina and Megan embrace. Camp Blood 2, May 6th, 2018. Brandon O'Keefe, the end. Brandon O'Keefe, Camp Blood 3, May 6th, 2018. Page 1. Camp Crystal Lake, 1957. Jason Voorhees drowns. Pamela and Elias Voorhees, Jason's parents, have just been informed. Pamela breaks down in tears. At home, Pamela buries her face in the bed. Elias walks to the liquor cabinet and opens it up. He grabs a bottle, opens it, and chugs away. Pamela.
Elias, we have to do something.
Elias. It was his own fault, Pamela. Pamela, lifting head through tears.
How can you say that?
Elias. He should have known better. Pamela, rising angrily.
It was the counselors. They were making love.
Wiping tears.
While my boy drowned.
Elias. It was my boy too, damn it. Taking another sip. I say we leave it be. Pamela.
He didn't love you like you did me. You didn't love him at all.
Elias. It's over, bitch. Just drop it. Elias turns his back, taking another sip. Pamela grabs another bottle from the liquor cabinet and smashes it on the back of Elias's head. He drops with a grunt. Pamela laughs a little, madly. Moments later, Elias awakens. He's tied to the bed. He struggles a bit, but is unable to get free. Elias. Pamela, what are you doing? How you stop this? I mean, really? Pamela Voorhees emerges from the darkness, holding a butcher's knife. Elias. Pamela, stop! It's over! Pamela.
Jason and I want you to die now.
Elias. He was a retard, but you're fucking crazy! Pamela, closing in slowly.
Elias, we're going to kill you now, and then we're going to kill them.
Elias. I want a divorce! Pamela.
Hold still now, and happy Friday the 13th.
Pamela stabs her husband in the chest. Elias lets out a pained scream, and then he's dead. Jason, V.O. Mommy! Help, Mommy! Pamela.
I am Jason.
Walking away.
And I will.
Page 2. A crew of 4 men are dragging a chain tied to a body in a tarp. Across the woods, from the lake, into a cabin. Inside is a cage. Walking up to it is Tina Shepard and Megan Garris. One of the 3 security officers rip open the tarp. It's Jason Voorhees staring at them. The man steps back. The cage is closed. Tina.
We got you now, Jason.
The 5 continue to stare at him. Outside is a sign on the ground. It reads Camp Crystal Lake, crossed out in blood, reading Camp Blood over it. We pan up to the new sign, which reads Crystal Lake Research Facility. Pan away to the old campsite, which is under construction. Time passes. Jason is now being transferred from the old cage to a newer, stronger one. He's been drugged heavily. The new cage is locked up, and Jason looks around in a daze. Megan Garris is chatting with one of the guards. More are seen now, with scientists. The place is getting more and more crowded as time goes on. Scientist. How many do you think he killed? Megan.
Too many.
Scientist. When's the next execution? Megan.
Coming right up.
4 guards with assault rifles are just walking in. Megan watches, but not as giddily as the scientist. But she is smiling. They aim their guns through the specially made barrel holes in the cage. They open fire, blasting Jason. His whole body shakes with shots. Their guns are all emptied into him. When they stop, he stops moving. Scientist, staring at monitor. That's always fun to watch. Megan.
Stats, please.
Scientist. Heart rate's a little high, as usual. Okay, he's pissed. But, see, looky here, Megan. Just like before, there's a healing factor. His tissue is regenerating. Slowly but surely. Megan.
Damn it.
Scientist. Calling it quits for today? Megan.
No. Just a little break.
Megan starts walking out of the former cabin, now a prison for a lone and undead psycho killer which seemingly can't die. All around is that of steel, like a giant hamster cage, to keep Jason held should he ever get loose. Page 3. The scientist runs out after her, down the cage tunnel. Scientist. Hey, Megan, wait up! Megan.
What is it? Felix.
Felix. I was hoping you'd honor me. Join me tonight for dinner. How about it? Megan.
Why not?
Felix. Really? Cool. See you at, Megan.
When we get off at 6.
Felix. Yep, sounds good. Megan, smiling.
Back to work, Felix.
Felix gives her a thumbs up. He heads back to his desk to watch over Jason with the other guards. In Tina Shepard's office, a couple of knocks at the door. Tina, behind her desk.
Come in.
Megan Garris walks in. Tina looks up from her notepad. Tina.
How did it go this time?
Megan.
Same as always. How about your new project? Here. How's that going?
Tina rolls back in her chair, uncovering a rat cage from its blanket. These 3 rats have been mutated into a freak show. Tina.
These rats were dying, but just a little bit of Jason's blood killed their disease. Progress of a kind. Until this happened just last night.
Megan.
They look undead.
Tina.
I suppose they are Megan.
Megan.
So his blood killed them. And also brought them back. What's this mean for everyone out there suffering from disfigurement?
Tina.
Still trying to figure that one out. I'm no expert, but we have so many here now. It'll do the world a ton of good if we can harness his power positively.
Megan.
Not to mention making him pay for all those he's murdered.
Tina, sitting up.
Amen to that.
Megan.
Thanks for bringing me in on this.
Tina.
No problem. Hey, let's say we start the next execution now.
Page 4. Out on the lake, but still within the cage, Jason is standing on a platform before Tina and Megan and the other scientists and guards. The floor gives out from under him, and his neck cracks, having been tied to a rope. He hangs there. Guard. Everyone hear that snap? Ha ha! Tina, yawning.
That was okay, but let's try again.
Flash 2, moments later. Jason is impaled by fire-hot pokers. 10 of them, to be exact. Jason is struggling to get free as it burns him from the inside. Now the guards move him over a fire and turn him as if he were dinner. Jason's meat is being burned off, and he's unable to do a thing about it. Guard 2. Why don't we lose the mask? Tina.
No, the mask stays. Just because.
Everyone continues to watch Jason cook, as Felix walks up behind Megan. Felix. Got the time? Megan looks at her wristwatch. Megan.
Hey, it's 5 minutes to 6. I've got a date with Felix. Do you mind, Tina?
Tina.
No, not at all. Have fun. Hey, congratulations.
Megan.
Thanks. Bye.
Megan and Felix take off. We watch as the door guard unlocks the cage door. The 2 take off. The cage door is locked up tightly immediately after them. Down a street, Felix is driving. Megan is in the passenger seat. She stares comfortably out at the passing trees. Megan.
So where are you taking me?
Felix. Up to you. The car is coming up on the diner. Then it pulls in and parks. Inside, a bit later, Felix and Megan are being served cheeseburgers and glasses of Coke. Felix. Rumor has it you were thinking about leaving. Megan.
Well, I can't stay forever, can I? Just glad we finally caught him.
Felix. Maybe we can leave together. I've got a new job lined up in the city. Megan.
Which city?
Felix, nervously. Manhattan? Page 5. Back at the facility, Jason is being locked back up in the cage. Pamela, VO.
Make them die, Jason. Do it now.
Jason thrashes about. One of the guards is taken by the neck, and his neck is crushed. This guard drops dead, and Jason breaks free his chains. The other guards back away in fright. Scaredy guard. You were supposed to give him a stronger dose of that shit! Jason whips the chain through the air, and the scaredy guard's face is caved in. The remaining guards open fire with their pistols and assault rifles. Jason is shot up, and he drops back motionless. In Tina's office, she's being fucked hard by another guard. Her tits out. She moans with pleasure. Then the alarm sounds. Tina gasps. Tina.
Pull out.
The guard obeys. They dress quickly. He locks and loads, and she rushes to the door. They exit. And watch as the bloody guard tries escaping out of the cage cabin. Jason pulls him back in, and his dying scream is heard. Tina and her lover creep down the pathway as the door guard comes running up. Tina.
Lock the gate. Fuck, I'll do it.
Tina puts her hands on her temples. The open gate slams shut and locks. Blood streams out of her nostrils. Inside, the power goes out. Jason's right hand moves across the wall side. He picks a fire axe off its wall hooks. Next to the open door, and into the darkness now, Tina and the two guards look in to see 5 guards ripped to pieces. It's a bloody mess. Tina.
We can still come out of this. Play it smart, gentlemen.
The 3 move in closer, aiming their handguns out ahead of them. Back at the diner, Megan's beeper goes off. She picks it up and sits up quickly.
It's them. He's loose. Come on.
Felix follows Megan out of the diner in a hurry. Cook lady. Hey, pay up! I know who you 2 are. You ain't getting away with this. Megan behind the wheel, this time, as Felix gets in the passenger side. The car takes off and speeds back down the way it came. Back at the facility, night has fallen. A group of 4 scientists are smoking weed and drinking in the back room, coughing and laughing. They are so clueless. Page 6. Just then, Jason breaks the door down. He hacks one of the male scientists in the chest deep. He lets out a scream. The other male quickly grabs his chair and smashes it in Jason's face. Ballsy scientist. Motherfucker! Jason pulls the axe out and slices the ballsy scientist's head, almost completely off. As it falls back and dangles for a moment, the 2 lady scientists are crying and cowering in the far corner. Then the body drops. Jason is stomping towards them. Suddenly, the 2 guards rush in. They open fire on Jason's back. He spins around and is met with more, but he's only getting angrier. Now he brings the axe up, cutting one of the guard's left arms off. Now the right arm. Blood sprays. Jason buries the axe in the other guard's face. Now he chops furiously. The 2 scientists collect a syringe. One charges while Jason has his back turned. She sticks it in the neck and injects instantly. Jason spins around and punches her head right off. The remaining lady picks up a hunting knife and lunges at him. Jason's throat is slashed, but he takes the hunting knife now and sticks it deep in her right eye and brain. Back outside, Jason finally emerges. He looks one way and starts walking. He heads right for Tina's office. In her office, the door is punched off its hinges. He's on the hunt. He spots the rats moving about in their cage. He walks over to take a look at them. Now the wall opens up in front of him. Jason cocks his head. He steps out and looks all around. There's bars of steel in his way. Tina.
Jason.
Jason sees Tina approaching him. She is on the other side of those bars. Jason walks up and is hit by electricity. These bars are electrified. Jason is taking it all, never letting his eyes leave his prey. He starts to smoke, burning from the inside. Then he finally falls back motionless. Tina sighs. Tina looks over to a barrel of acid. She moves her head and the barrel flies over, hovering above Jason. Now she moves her right arm in the air and the barrel is turned over. Jason is awakened by a splash of acid on the face and torso. He's steaming and burning and grunting in agony. His hockey mask is melting into his face. Now Felix's car pulls up. Megan and Felix rush out and over to Tina Shepard. Felix. What's going on? Where is everybody? Tina.
They're dead. We fucked up.
They watch as Jason lifts up. more grotesque looking than before. Page 7. Jason charges the electric fence. Megan and Tina scream as Jason breaks it down. He immediately bear hugs the awestruck Felix. Megan.
Felix. No.
Felix. Roar! Felix's back is broken. Jason even spits up some of the acid into Felix's face. He gags in agony and dies as Megan takes Tina by the hand and they run for it. Felix's body drops on the electric fence, being electrified. Jason, with his mask burned into him, stomps into the woods after the final two girls. Felix is left burning. A farther shot of the complex succumbing to more flames. Even the rats in the cage burn to death. In the woods, Tina and Megan are running out of breath just as fast. Megan.
What the fuck are we going to do now?
Tina.
Get the fuck out of here. And never look back. He's never going to die.
Megan.
God help us.
Jason steps up with some hedge clippers. They rip through Megan's backside, out her front. Tina lets out a scream, backing away in tears. Jason opens the clippers, opening Megan too. She screams as her guts spill out. Then she falls over dead. Tina.
You son of a fucking bitch.
Tina struggles with her hands on her temples, blood out her nostrils. The hedge clippers fly out of Megan's corpse and dig into Jason's chest. The clippers start moving and eating its way into him. Tina sends Jason flying up and spinning in the air wildly. He's thrown into and through several trees. At the docks, Jason finally lands, skidding against the rooftop of another cabin, and he smashes into a rowboat. Tina comes stumbling out of the woods, her face covered in blood. Her powers have come with a price. She's about had it, but refuses to give up now. Tina.
I'm not afraid of you, Jason.
Jason climbs out of the rowboat, facing his target. Then he sees an unmanned speedboat soaring his way. Jason is hit by it, and it explodes. A burst of flames as Tina is also hit by the fire and metal. She's wasted. Jason's pieces are sent soaring in all directions. His head still intact, however, with his face still hockey masked, and it bounces once on the ground before splashing into the water. Camp Blood 3, May 6, 2018. Brandon O'Keefe, The End. The Lair of the White Worm, May 11th, 2018. Based on clips, music, reviews, synopsis, etc. of the 1988 Ken Russell Tommy movie from a Bram Stoker story, written by Brandon O'Keefe. I have not seen the film yet, but I'm inspired to write this story based on everything I've found out about it. Thanks for your time. Have a good day. Page 1. Derbyshire, England, 1988. Storm-clouded sky as the sun starts setting. A cavern's entry across the way from a small house. Deep in the cavern is Angus Flint, a young man with big curly hair and big glasses. He's relighting a torch and waving it over the dirt-covered ground. Then the torch stops moving. Something white and hard-looking, buried in the dirt. Angus takes his free hand and spreads some of the dirt away. All the more curious, he sets the torch up against the rock wall. With both hands, he removes the giant skull of an ancient snake. Away from the cavern to the small house as the wind picks up. Inside, Angus Flint is taking a sip of his tea. Then he walks in from the kitchen to the living room, a fireplace cackling. A mother in her chair beside it. She looks up and smiles at Angus. Angus smiles back with a nod. Now a younger woman enters. Younger woman.
What is that thing?
She stands by Angus, and they stare at the worm skull on the coffee table. Older woman.
Looks like a skull to me. Angus found it. Ask him.
Younger woman.
I was asking him, Mom.
Older woman, turning to look at the fire.
Oh.
Angus. It's a skull, all right. Found it in a cavern. I think it's a worm skull. In fact, I'm sure of it. Younger woman.
Too big to be a worm.
Angus. Didn't you tell me what it is, Mary? She rolls her eyes. Mary.
If I knew, why would I ask?
A dull look across Angus's face. He takes another sip of his tea. Angus, to the older woman. Thanks for the tea, Eve. Eve, looking back at him, smiling.
Oh, you're welcome, Angus.
Mary pulls Angus away. Mary.
Maybe it's the Dabton worm. We're going to be late.
Angus follows Mary Trent out. Angus. Have a nice night, Mrs. Trent. Eve.
Don't forget your skull.
The pair depart, leaving the worm skull. Thunder rolls outside. Page 2. In town, a party is heard in the pub. Inside, seemingly everyone in town is there. A music group on stage, singing about the Dampton worm. Everyone's dancing. A song about John Danton and his legendary murder of a big snake. In the crowd, laughing and smiling at his woman, is one of his descendants, brandishing a blade, one James Danton. As the singing and dancing continues, a giant worm comes out from behind a red curtain. 2 actors beneath it. James Danton walks up and cuts the worm in half. Everyone cheers, and James takes his woman, Kelly, by the hand. They move towards a table and have a seat. They lean in and kiss, but then they're immediately joined by Angus and Mary. Angus, having a seat. Sorry, we're late. James, no stone. Mary.
Tell him what you found, Angus.
James, what did you find? Angus, a worm skull. James, let me see it. Mary.
It's back at my house. I think it might be the worm John Danton killed.
James erupts in laughter. Kelly.
You must be joking.
The waitress arrives with a pen and a pad. James. 4 beers. Waitress.
On the house, Mr. Danton.
James. I appreciate that. Kelly.
Well, I think we should drink quickly, because I want to see it. Please, James.
James. You're not joking, are you, Angus? Angus. Maybe it is the Dampton worm. Maybe it's the exact one John Dampton killed all those decades ago. But it could be worth something. Yes, I believe it is. Could be priceless. Page 3. Back at the Trent house, Eve is washing a dish in the sink. She looks up out into the dark yard. She peers into the darkness to see a thin and beautiful woman walking sexily and smoothly towards the front door. A moment later, and Eve is in the living room, opening the front door. Eve.
Lady Sylvia, long time no see. Care for some tea?
Lady Sylvia Marsh enters, her face cloaked in darkness. By the fireplace, her beautiful face is lit up. Her eyes light up at the sight of the worm skull on the coffee table. Eve.
Are you okay?
Sylvia picks up the skull. Eve slowly walks up behind her. Sylvia turns, her mouth open, revealing her snake's fangs. Her beautiful eyes turn to yellow snake eyes, and she hisses at Eve. In the front yard, some time later, 2 cars are just pulling up, sprinkling rain. While Angus and Mary step out of one of the cars, James and Kelly step out of the other. The 4 doors slam shut, and these friends head for the front door of the house. Inside, the front door opens. Mary.
Mom, we're back.
The 4 walk in. Angus. Looking at the coffee table. Where'd it go? Mary walks up to her smiling mother, sitting in her chair by the fireplace. Angus. It was right here on the coffee table. Mary.
Mom.
Mary shakes Eve's shoulder, and before her daughter's eyes, Eve's eyes turn yellow and snake-like. Her snake fangs revealed, and she leaps out of her chair, hissing. Mary screams, being bitten on the neck. Blood sprays out of the wound, and as Angus and James quickly tear Eve off of Mary, James punches Eve in the mouth, and she twists back, going headfirst into the fireplace. Kelly lets out a scream, as the men tend to Mary's bleeding neck wound. Page 4. Outside of the house, they are rushing to one of the cars, holding Mary Trent close. Kelly.
What the fuck is going on?
Mary collapses, and is seemingly having a seizure on the wet grass and mud. A hallucination, fire and darkness. Mary Trent is bundled up in the center of her wild trip, spirals of blue, looking hypnotizing. And out of these spirals, Lady Sylvia Marsh, the snake woman, hissing and showing her fangs, with those yellow eyes. Many clones of her ripping their clothes off, revealing her small breasts and tits. And she's got a white worm strap on, and they begin to rape Mary, one after the other. Mary is screaming for it to stop. Back in the yard, Mary shakes violently. Angus drops to his ass, holding his hand over his gawking mouth in disbelief. Mary rises, with her snake eyes and fangs revealed, as her mother before her. She goes in to bite James, but he's holding her back with all his might. Kelly starts kicking Mary in the backside, repeatedly. Then Kelly jumps back out of the way with a scream. Now James Danton starts strangling Mary Trent. Mary gags, and she tries to push him off of her. James then breaks her neck. He lets go, and she drops dead. Angus Flint removes his glasses, shedding a single tear. He puts his glasses back on and stares at James, just as confused. Not far from the Trent house is Lady Sylvia Marsh's estate. Sylvia Marsh is in a cavernous room. She places the giant worm skull on a spike rest. Then she turns and looks down a big dark hole, a roaring hiss of something enormous down there. In Sylvia's master bathroom. She's dressed in a black bra and panties. She wears black boots and an open black leather jacket. She slinks down to a young blond man in a bubble bath. He looks up to at her smiling. She goes in for a kiss. Then she moves the young man's hand over her breasts, and he gropes her passionately, and as they continue to kiss. Out of the bath, the young man stands. Sylvia gets down on her knees, then her snake face is revealed. She bites his cock. Page 5. The young man lets out a scream, not just from the pain, but from the sight of the snake bitch. In a fiery pit, bright walls of yellow and red and blue. The young man is looking around, scared out of his mind. Then Lady Sylvia comes dancing towards him, rubbing her naked body. She hisses and appears 100 times his size now, her snake eyes staring deep into him as he lets out a scream. Her snake tongue whipping out at him as he's burning up from the inside. All that's left of him is bones and ash. Back in the bathroom, the young man shakes violently as Mary Trent before him. Sylvia helps him up as his snake eyes open. He stares down at her tits and starts rubbing her again. The next morning, a knock at Sylvia's front door. An old man, a cop, is there, straightening his cop cap. Sylvia opens the door. Sylvia.
Good morning, officer. How can I help you?
Peters. I'm Peters, miss. Sylvia.
Lady Sylvia Marsh. Nice to meet you, Officer Peters.
Peters. You too, Lady March. Sylvia.
It's Marsh.
Peters. Ah, sorry. Wow, you're beautiful. Sylvia, stepping back.
Won't you come in?
Officer Peters steps into the foyer. She closes the door behind him. Now she walks forth, and he follows her. Sylvia.
Can I get you anything?
Peters. Oh, ma'am. Sylvia. Stopping and turning.
Then what on earth do you want?
Peters. Just to inform you that your neighbors... Sylvia.
The Trents?
Peters. They're both dead, Lady Marsh. Page 6. Sylvia, raising eyebrow, cracking a grin.
Oh dear.
Outside, Angus Flint opens a book. A picture of a white worm. He looks up at the field before him, and the cave. Inside the cave, James and Kelly are taking a look around. Back outside, the sun shines through the storm clouds on this morning. Here comes James and Kelly walking up to Angus. Angus. I think there's no more room for doubt. I've been boning up on the history of the Danton worm. James. I brought my sword. Angus. I brought my bagpipe. Kelly looks around. She scans the vast field. Kelly.
Where is it? The lair of the white worm?
Angus flips through the book. Angus. Are we sure it's not in the cavern? James. Didn't see anything, Angus. Angus, sitting up. But it must be close. James just nods a few times. Back at Sylvia's place, a young woman is dusting a bookshelf and she sneezes. Out of the library and down the hall, this young woman heads down a stairwell. Cleaning lady.
Miss Marsh, are you down here?
She continues down the steps. She enters a dark room with a tanning bed lit up in the center. The top opens up. Lady Sylvia sits up and turns around, in the nude. Her breasts hang down away from her torso. Cleaning lady.
I suppose I'm done cleaning.
Sylvia.
Come here.
The young cleaning lady steps closer. She gets down on her knees face to face with Sylvia. Sylvia.
How would you like to do me another favor?
Sylvia leans in and kisses her. Sylvia.
Come with me.
Page 7. In the lair of the white worm, the cleaning lady is screaming. She's got a few cuts on her exposed torso. She's in a white bra. Sylvia is removing her skirt just now, revealing her white panties. The woman is hysterical, eyeing the skull on the spike. Then looking down at the pit she hangs from above. Sylvia.
I'm going to sacrifice you to my white worm.
Cleaning lady.
Please, stop.
Sylvia.
Quiet.
Sylvia slinks out. Cleaning lady.
Somebody help me.
Sylvia. Shh.
Soon, my dear. Soon.
In another room, Sylvia is climbing into a wicker basket. She pulls the lid over it and goes to sleep. In her lucid dream, she's being fucked by a white worm and she moans with pleasure, her human face morphing into the snake-eyed, snake-fanged version. Out front, Angus walks up a set of steps, armed with his bagpipe. He looks over Marsh's big house nervously. Then he begins to play. Back inside, Lady Sylvia Marsh pops slowly out of the wicker basket. She holds the lid in the palm of her right hand. Dressed in black low top and black coat and black pants and black boots, she sways back and forth. In the next room, it's darker. The bagpipe can be heard playing. Here comes Sylvia, who's hypnotized, swaying from one room to the other, across the floor, rubbing herself sensually. As she makes her way out of the room, down a hall, James and Kelly sneak around the corner and make their way deeper into the house, in search of the white worm's lair. Back outside, Angus continues to play. He sees snakes crawling out of the bushes. They slither towards him. Now a grating is removed. Out comes Officer Peters, with snake eyes and fangs. He dances out, hypnotized by the music. He stumbles towards Angus, who doesn't stop at the sight of this monster. The monster dances in front of him now, harmless. Page 8. Inside, James pulls his sword. He spins around and sees Kelly is no longer with him. James. Kelly? Around the corner, the blond man is sinking his teeth into Kelly's neck, and he holds his right hand over her mouth, muffling her screams. Back outside, Angus still keeps the Officer Peters hypnotized. Then Angus coughs, and the playing stops. Officer Peters lunges at Angus, trying to bite him. The bagpipe is dropped, and Angus shoves the hissing cup off of him. The bagpipe is crushed underfoot. Peters falls to the ground, the back of his head impaled on a golden snake ornament, his left eye plucked out of its socket. It's impaled on the golden snake's head. Angus Flint is staring in disgust at a moment. Then he runs up the steps, towards the front door. Back with James Denton, who's backing up with his sword up. His eyes shift from side to side, at the blonde snake man, and Kelly, who's also been turned. They hiss at him, charging. James cuts the blonde man's throat, then impales Kelly. James. Sorry, love. James cuts Kelly in half. Her two halves hit the ground and James hops over her. Then distant screams for help catch Danton's attention. He rushes down the hall and down a stairwell to the white worm's lair. In the library, Angus Flint steps in. He looks about. A pause. Then he spins around to Sylvia, jumping out at him, hissing with her snake eyes and fangs. Angus screams, hitting the ground. Sylvia bites him in the leg. Angus. Ah! Sylvia tears into his face. Angus screams, his flesh ripped apart. Blood streams out. He's about to pass out from the pain. In a spiraling blue light, Angus falls uncontrollably. There is no up or down. Sylvia's laughter is heard as he's tied by snakes and ripped in half by them. Back in the library, Angus is shaking on the ground, his eyes rolling over white, foaming at the mouth. Then his head starts to melt. Sylvia slithers away. Page 9. In the lair of the white worm, James Denton rushes in to see the cleaning lady hanging from her wrists, from a chain. She turns with tears streaming down her face. James peeks down and sees the giant white worm head poking out of the dark hole. James. Yikes. James turns and spots Sylvia rushing in, hissing with his sharp nails up and ready to strike. James puts his sword out and jabs at the air before her. Sylvia hops out of the way, hissing more furiously now. James advances, still poking at the air. Sylvia hops on the chain, above her cleaning lady. Then she's stabbed in the backside. Sylvia. Sylvia crawls up to the ceiling. The white worm below is roaring louder and more angrily. Sylvia crawls on the ceiling, holding her backside in pain as it bleeds out. James pulls the young woman to him, and he unties her with haste. Cleaning lady.
Thank you.
Sylvia hops onto the chain and slashes James's left cheek. He lets out a grunt, holding his bloody wound. James. Bitch! James cuts Sylvia's belly open. She looks down and screams as her insides spill out. She now drops down the chain, holding tightly. She screams as the worm tries to reach her. James now cuts at her right wrist. Sylvia just watches with widened snake eyes and widened mouth with snake fangs. Her tightly gripped right hand is severed. Sylvia, falling. Lady Sylvia Marsh falls into the white worm's mouth, being devoured by it. James Denton smashes his blade against the worm's skull on the spike. The skull shatters. The white worm sinks back into the darkness. James and the spared woman leave. The Lair of the White Worm, based on the 1988 movie. Written by Brendan O'Keefe. May 11th, 2018. The end.